In the eerie silence of a dense forest in Bavaria, Germany, a chilling event unfolded in the year 1994. A young girl, named Annemarie, walked into the woods near her home and simply vanished without a trace. Her disappearance sent shockwaves through the small town, leaving an entire community on edge. As days turned into weeks and months turned into years, the case of the missing girl remained unsolved, haunting the memories of those who had loved her. In the beginning, hope was high that Anna Maria would be found safe and sound. But as the search efforts continued without success, fear began to creep in. Her family and friends held on to the belief that she was out there somewhere, but the lack of answers only deepened their despair. What happened to her? Why did she disappear? Did she wander off and get lost? Or was there something more sinister at play? These questions echoed through the quiet streets of the town unanswered. And now decades have passed since that fateful day when Anne-Marie stepped into the woods and never came out. The pain of her disappearance has not faded with time, but intensified. And in 2024, a discovery that should have brought closure instead opened up a Pandora's box of confusion and fear. This is the story of a girl who walked into the woods in 1994 and whose shoes were found 3 decades later beside a tree that was uneven there. In this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into the strange disappearance of Anne-Marie and the mysterious reappearance of her shoes 3 decades later. Join us as we explore this unsettling case that continues to baffle investigators and haunt the town to this day. It all started back in 1994. Anne-Marie, bright and cheerful girl of 16, decided to take a walk in the woods near her home. She lived in a peaceful town surrounded by nature. The forest was a place she often visited to clear her mind and enjoy the tranquility of the trees. Little did she know that this particular day would be like any other. She had no reason to suspect danger, and yet when she entered those woods, she would never come out. On that ordinary day, Anne-Marie had donned a vibrant red jacket, making her stand out against the backdrop of the dense trees. It was this jacket, along with her worn-out pair of Doc Martens, that would become the last visual clues in this perplexing mystery. She had no plans for the day, just a desire to lose herself in the soothing embrace of the woods. As she strolled along the familiar paths, the sounds of the forest enveloped her. Birds tweeting, leaves crunching under her feet, all creating a melody that was both calming and comforting. The forest, usually a place of solace for her, seemed to be hiding something that day. And although none knew it then, this would be the last time anyone would see Anne-Marie alive. After a while, she stopped by a grocery store near the forest and talked to a friend before entering the woods again. No one knows exactly what time she entered the woods, but when she failed to return home by nightfall, alarm bells started ringing. Her parents, growing increasingly worried, waited for her return, calling her name into the dark, hoping for an answer. But the only response was the mocking hoot of an owl. As the night wore on, so did their hope. Finally, they contacted the local authorities, and search parties were assembled to comb through the forest. The entire town was soon involved in the frantic search for the missing girl. But despite their best efforts, they found no trace of her.
Ow.
Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Yet there was no sign of Anne-Marie. The case went from being a missing persons investigation to a criminal one. And the police started looking into all possibilities. Did she run away? Was she kidnapped? Or was there foul play involved? The answers seemed to be lost in the labyrinthine depths of the forest. What made the situation even more perplexing was the absence of any clues. There were no signs of a struggle, no witnesses, and not even footprints leading away from the spot where she was last seen. It was as if she had evaporated into thin air, leaving behind a void of unanswered questions and shattered dreams. For the families, every day without answers was a torment. They clung to hope, refusing to believe that she was truly gone. They organized groups to keep searching, passing out flyers with her picture, hoping someone somewhere might have seen her. But their efforts were in vain. Anne-Marie was nowhere to be found. The mystery of her disappearance became one of the most chilling, unsolved cases of the decade, sending shivers down the spines of those who heard about it. People started whispering about the woods, calling it the place where time stood still, a place where secrets were buried and where the echoes of the past lingered. Years rolled by, and the memory of Anne-Marie began to fade from the public eye. But for her family, the pain of her loss remained raw and real. Then came the day that shook the town once again. It was a typical day in 2024 when a group of hikers decided to explore the same forest, where Anne-Marie had vanished almost 30 years ago. The woods were as dense and mysterious as they had always been, and the hikers, armed with nothing but curiosity and a thirst for adventure, ventured deep into its heart. As they made their way through the thick undergrowth, their eyes scanning the forest floor, they stumbled upon something that made them gasp in surprise. Tucked away beside an ancient tree were a pair of worn-out shoes, and they looked oddly familiar. Upon closer inspection, the hikers realized that these were no ordinary shoes. They were Doc Martens, the same brand and style that Anne-Marie had been wearing the day she disappeared. Their worn-out appearance and the fact that they were sitting quietly by a tree suggested that they had been here for a long time. With trembling hands, they picked up the shoes, turning them over in their hands as if trying to decipher a hidden message. The hikers, shaken by their discovery, quickly snapped some pictures and contacted the authorities. Soon, the police were standing in the very spot where the shoes had been found, examining the area for any signs of the missing girl. The news of the discovery spread like wildfire, bringing renewed attention to the cold case. Authorities were cautious, aware that after all these years, handling the case would be tricky. Nevertheless, they were determined to follow every lead, however faint, in the hopes of finally bringing some closure to the mystery. But the strange events didn't end there. Upon closer examination of the shoes, forensic experts were able to confirm that they indeed belonged to Anne-Marie. This was a major breakthrough in the stagnant case, offering a tangible link to the missing girl. It was as if a piece of the puzzle had finally slotted into place, but it raised more questions than it answered. How did her shoes end up in the forest after all these years? And where had they been all this time? What made the case even more puzzling was the revelation that the tree beside which the shoes were found was not recorded in any of the maps, photos, or search records from 1994. Its existence had somehow managed to elude detection for 3 decades, until it was discovered by those hikers. This bizarre detail added another layer of complexity to the mystery, leaving investigators scratching their heads in bewilderment. They couldn't comprehend how a tree could have grown and remained unnoticed for so long, especially in an area that had been thoroughly searched multiple times. This inexplicable phenomenon only served to deepen the enigma surrounding Anne-Marie's disappearance. Theories started swirling through the town like wildfire. Some believed that the shoes had been deliberately placed by someone who wanted to mock the family, or perhaps lead them on a wild goose chase. Others argued that Anne-Marie could have strayed into this particular part of the forest, gotten lost, and died there. The presence of the tree, which hadn't been there in 1994, only fueled these theories, suggesting that the ground had shifted or the tree had somehow sprouted overnight. But perhaps the most unsettling theory was that the tree itself was somehow connected to Anne-Marie's disappearance. Was it a witness to the crime, planted there intentionally or naturally to conceal whatever had happened to her? The truth seemed to be shrouded in an impenetrable fog. Even the police were baffled, unable to come up with a satisfactory explanation for the shoes reappearing after 3 decades and the sudden emergence of the tree. It was a mystery that defied logic and left everyone on edge. So what really happened to Anne-Marie? Did she meet with foul play, and was the tree planted to conceal the evidence? Or did she get lost and the tree sprouted naturally, becoming a silent guardian of the past? Unfortunately, we may never know the full story. But the discovery of the shoes and the enigmatic tree serves as a haunting reminder of the enduring power of the past. What do you think happened to the shoes and the tree? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Subscribe for more amazing content. Thank you for watching.